Hey everybody, welcome back for another video response. This is to Novabug's latest Friday Foursome, which is on 4 gaming related gifts we received for the holidays. I had attempted this previously and watched it back, and I could tell 2 things. 1, you can definitely hear my window unit in the background, and 2, you can hear how congested I am. That's because I'm just getting over being sick. And the window unit is the heater. That's because we had standing snow for the first time in over 30 years here the other day. And it is very cold right now, so apologies for that. First up is going to be an honorable mention. That's to Sporadic Spacebar for this lovely Sega Saturn mug. They actually sent me 2 because they messed up on his order. I offered to send him the other one so we could be mug buddies, but he wasn't buying it. I'll show it in another pickup video. So thanks again. The rest of these are going to be in chronological order. I'm pretty sure. The last 2 I'm a little fuzzy on, but it should be correct. First up is the Game Boy. Sporadic Spacebar. Shock 16 recently did his Game Boy collection video, and I forgot just how many Game Boy games I had owned at one point. There were so many he had. We had a serious overlap. Like there's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Fall of the Foot, Wrestling, Double Dragon. A big chunk of his collection were games I owned growing up, and this is the original Game Boy right here, with the Tetris that it came with. Unfortunately, I do not have the other games my parents had got for me, which are Double Dragon and Nemesis. I love both of those games. Double Dragon really took me back. I thought that was a great conversion for the handheld. I remember waking up at about 1 in the morning and seeing it in the living room, running back to my room, playing it for 2 or 3 hours before I was about to pass out, boxing it up, and putting it back out under the tree. And having a hard time going to sleep because I just wanted to play this some more. This was a great system. It still works. The connections got a little corroded, but I cleaned those off. It's a little tank. These things just last forever. Tetris. At one point, my parents forbid me from bringing this into the living room because they would play Tetris too much. I had no idea they were doing that. They just told me one day, you have to leave it in the back because we can't help ourselves. So that says something. And yeah, this was a great gift and a classic. Next up, now, one year, I'm just going to show this bad boy. One year, me and my brother ran across Captain America and the Avengers in the arcade. We were both really into comic books at the time, and because it was multiplayer, even better, we played it as much as we could until our Aladdin's Castle got rid of it. And I saw a preview for this. I read the preview for this game probably 100 times, and I just bugged my parents. I said, I didn't have a Genesis. All I had was a Nintendo. At this point, the Genesis had already been out. My friends had already had them, and I'm telling my parents, the Nintendo's good and all, but everyone else has got a Genesis. This game looks great. But to my parents, they had an Atari, and they were familiar with video games and they liked them, but they were kind of like, well, the Nintendo's better than the Atari. Why would you want anything else? And then one day they let us rent this for the weekend. The Genesis, not this. We got Shinobi and Sonic 1 with it, or Altered Beast, I think. And they were kind of like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. And so, growing up, they viewed video game systems as like a VCR, and that for a couple $100 you can get hours of entertainment out of it. But the games they had a problem with, because they would say, okay, well, if a game is like $50 or $60, you're going to play that for a few hours, you're going to be done with it. Whereas a system, we'll spend $200 to $300, but you'll have it for years. So we're just going to rent. So I owned very few games growing up, but I woke up Christmas Day to find a Genesis with Sonic 1, Sonic 2 in this, and I lost it. This is exactly what I wanted. I was super pumped, and the thing is, my Genesis shipped without a power adapter. So almost the entire time I was off of school, my dad went back to work on like a Thursday. Maybe a Friday. It was like maybe a full week after I actually opened this. And he had to he worked in Texas, and he went to the Best Buy there he bought it from and had to tell him, and so I had maybe 2 days to play the system before school started back, which was just a tease. I was just sitting there reading like the system manual, like the seizure warnings and stuff, just so I could be connected with the system. And then, of course, I read the manuals, did this over and over, which I've lost subsequently. I still have the collector's pin. Um, but this was, I mean, even at the time, I could tell the hit detection was off of this, but still, for a home conversion, I couldn't have been happier. I absolutely loved it. And turned out, I normally would not get 3 games with a system. And Best Buy had a sale where if you bought a Genesis, they gave you Sonic 1 and they gave you Sonic 2. So he bought it during that weekend and just picked up this, so I got off with a steal on that one. But yeah, definitely the Genesis with Captain America and the Avengers. I like Sonic 1 and 2 enough, but I had played those a lot when friends brought them over. But my brother actually played that game with me, so that's why it gets highlighted. Third is going to be the PlayStation 1, but specifically the story I've told before is I saw this game with the system in my parents' closet. And what would happen is they kept chips and stuff in the closet. And I had to go get a bag one day, and I kind of knew where they kept the presents, which was behind a layer or so of clothes. They had one of those walk-in closets, and I saw a plastic bag. And I kind of peeked around a little because it was getting close to Christmas, and I saw just kind of this. Then I took it out a little more, and I saw this, and I knew, I was like, oh, I saw that logo. I thought, oh, okay, here we go. Kind of got the chips, went into the kitchen, tried to play it cool. But the second they left the house, boom, I was back there, looked behind it, saw the box of the PlayStation, lost it. Because at this point, I had an issue of interactive entertainment. And I have the clip up here somewhere where they previewed the import PlayStation. And they have a very small snippet of Toshinden. And I watched that snippet repeatedly. I watched that preview repeatedly. They showed the controller. It looked so neat with the symbols on the buttons. Like, everything was great about it. Just so exotic, and it looked sleek. It was a CD based. Like, my only CD based system was the Sega CD, which I was not a fan of then. But this looked like the true kind of next level. Well, I was in a grocery store, and I was reading I think an EGM or a PS Extreme, and they gave this like a 6. So I thought, oh man, that's not good. My dad came up, said, "What you reading?" I was like, oh, it's about this new PlayStation. He goes, oh, you want one of those? And I said, yeah, this looks great. I said, except this game got a 6. I was like, that's unfortunate. Like, all these are new games, and this one got a 6. He's like, oh, yeah. Ooh, it'd suck to get one of those, huh? I was like, it looks pretty cool, but, it's weird they would release something that wasn't, a 10 out of 10. And he was like, yeah. Well, sure enough, Christmas morning, I go out to find the PlayStation with a copy of Tekken and a copy of Ridge Racer. My subtle, smooth hint worked. I had played Tekken at an arcade in Arkansas at a Walmart, the only time I ever saw it in an arcade. So I was actually wanting to play this really bad, but what I ended up playing is Ridge Racer. I called my friend on the phone who had got a PlayStation, and me and him just sat on the phone eating candy, talking for hours on end while we each played Ridge Racer. Like, I had so much fun with that one track in Ridge Racer. I don't think one track's ever given me so much joy. I love the colorful cars, of course the arcade style racing. This is when games still were very vibrant to catch your eye in the arcades. It was like Sega's Blue Skies era. Ridge Racer was super bright. The music was catchy. Even the logo was something that was like really snazzy. Tekken I had a lot of fun with. It was kind of rough around the edges, but for the time, it was still pretty neat. The characters were very exotic for back then. Of course, there's, 7 Tekkens now, plus spinoffs. But as much as I enjoyed Tekken, I played the hell out of Ridge Racer. And later on, my dad had told me, he goes, I actually bought you that game you saw in the magazine. And when you said it got a 6, I thought, well, I'll just give him something else. Turns out, this was over $60. This was like $69. And Namco had a deal at that Best Buy, or I think it was just a nationwide deal. It was either buy one, get one free, or they were $29. But either way, he got both of these for less than the costs of Kiliak. Or I don't know how to pronounce that. Kiliak? I couldn't believe you got these 2 games for the price of that one. Ridge Racer is a classic. Tekken, I will say, is a classic. The sequels are better. Ridge Racer still holds up. I could fire this up right now and have a great time. Tekken will just be very nostalgic for me. But these 2 for that one, that is not a contest. And the last gaming gift I got that was really memorable, and I will say the PlayStation was the last time I really looked forward to a big gift. Where I didn't have a job then. It was right before I started working. I couldn't buy stuff for myself. and there's just no way I could afford it. So that was the last time where I was counting down the days to Christmas because I knew I had it, and just my whole innards, like I'm sitting in the desk at school just thinking about the PlayStation and like how awesome it's going to be, and then it delivered on all that, including that amazing first demo disc with Wipeout and Jumping Flash and Toshinden, and then all the videos. That was one of my favorite Christmases, and this has to be the next Christmas for Warcraft 2. I played Warcraft 1 so much, it got to the point where my parents were getting annoyed with me because I wouldn't stop playing it. I just loved everything about it. I built up all this lore in my head too. Warcraft 1 is very simple, but like in these little brief intro clips, I would just build up everything, this like dynamic campaign around it where I've got to succeed in there. The objective might be build a farm, and I'm like, I've got to build this farm to keep the war going. I loved it so much. I almost put it here, but this came out, and my God, this is just... I still go through Warcraft 1 and 2 today. I actually have the Battle.net edition of this that plays fine on modern systems. I think Blizzard actually updated them to play fine like 2 or 3 years ago. But I rebought Battle.net so I could play it back then. I think it was Windows... What is that? Like 98 or something? But it was running fine on 7, and I think it runs fine on Windows 10. So much about this game was amazing. I even put it in a plastic bag because this is my original copy, and you can see down here some silverfish already got to it. Bastards. The cutscenes were amazing at that time. There was that one where the turtle eats a sailor, or bites him in half when he's sinking. I remember just my jaw dropping when I saw it. When a cutscene loaded in Warcraft 2, I sat up in my chair. Like at the time, those were cutting edge. But the graphics are SVGA, super colorful. They added trolls, they added elves, double-headed orcs. Of course, the sound clips with the humor was great. If you clicked on sheep numerous times, they would explode. Like little jokes like that. I sat inside and I played this every day of my vacation until I went back to school. This is all I did. I think I interspersed it with a few like console games, but 90% of my gaming time was Warcraft 2. I couldn't stop playing the campaign. I replayed both campaigns repeatedly. Just the best. And then my friend got it, and we played Warcraft Online through Khan. Kali was an online service you paid for. Khan was a free alternative, and me and him would tie up the phone lines. Just absolutely piss our parents and siblings off because we would tie up the phone lines playing this. His dad even got into it and played us a few times, which was just blew my mind. But yeah, this game delivered. It had a map maker too, and you could go on AOL back then and download custom maps, which to me was so innovative. Create your own scenarios, and I would download maps all day, or like for an hour straight, and then disconnect the phone line, load them up, and just play the custom maps all day. I was insatiable. This game was just that good. Still so charming. I wish Blizzard would go back. 3 is good, but 2 just, they need to expand on that. But yeah, that was my Friday foursome. These are the top gaming gifts I received for Christmas. Warcraft 2, the PlayStation with Ridge Racer and Tekken, my Genesis with Captain America and the Avengers, and my Game Boy. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll talk to you later.